Hari Hari Baligai Nam Prabhahe Matilo Vishra Nam Rasa Sabepai Nara Krishna Nam Rasane Spuri Puralo Amara Asha Hare Krishna Nam Rasane Spuri Puralo Amara Asha Shri Rupa Pare Jachaye Ha Bhakati Vinodata Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Narada Muni ki jai. Narada Muni bajai vina Ramana name. Translation. When the great soul Narada Muni plays his stringed instrument, the veena, the holy name of Radhika Ramana descends and immediately appears amidst the kirtan of the Lord's devotees. Like a monsoon cloud, the holy name showers pure nectar into their ears. All the devotees, through the great ecstasy, enthusiastically dance to their heart's content. All the inhabitants of the universe become maddened upon entering this intoxicating shower of divine sweetness. Some people cry, some dance, and others become fully intoxicated within their minds. The five-faced Lord Shiva embraces Narada Muni, repeatedly makes sounds, screams of ecstatic joy, while Lord Brahma dances very ecstatically and exclaims, all of you chant, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. In supreme happiness, the thousand-faced Anantashesha sings and calls out, Hari Hari. By the influence of the transcendental vibration of that name, the whole universe becomes ecstatically maddened, and everyone tastes and relishes the mellows of the holy name. The holy name of Krishna has fulfilled all my desires by thus manifesting on everyone's tongue. Bhaktivinoda, the humble servant of the Lord, therefore prays at the feet of Sri Rupa Goswami that the chanting of Harinam may always continue in this way. Narada Muni Bhajai Vina Harita Ramana Name. Narada Muni Bhajai Vina Shri Harinamashtakam by Srila Rupa Goswami. Thank you. Vaitya. Nikila Shuddhi Mauli Ratnamala Duti Nirajita Pada Pankajanta Mukta Kaleru Pasyamanam Paritastam Harinama Samshayami. O Harinam, the tips of the toes of your lotus feet are constantly being worshipped by the glowing radiance emanating from the string of gems known as the Upanishads, the crown jewels of all the Vedas. You are eternally adored by liberated souls like Narada and Shukadev. O Harinam, I take complete shelter of you. Jayanamadaya Muni Vrinda Geyahe Janaranjanaya Paramakshara Krite Tomanada Pimanagudiritam Nikilogratapa Patalim Balumpasi. O Harinam, all glories to you, sung by all the sages. You are the supreme combination of syllables, and you bring transcendental bliss to everyone. If a person utters you but once, even disrespectfully, still you relieve his many extreme sufferings. Yadabaso pyudyan kavalita bhavadvanda vibabo Drisham Tatvandhanam Apidishiti Bhakti Pranainim Janas Tasyo Datam Jagati Bhagavan Namatadine Kriti Te Nirvaktum Ka Ihem Mahimanam Prabhavati. O Son of the Holy Name, even a dim glimmer of your splendor swallows the powerful darkness of materialistic life and gives those who are blind to the truth the vision to follow the path of pure devotional service. Who in this world, even if learned and pious, can fully describe your transcendental glory? Yad Brahma Sakshat Kriti Nishchayapi Vinashamayati Vinana Bhogai Apaiti Namaspuranena Tate Prarabdha Karmeti Viroti Vedaha. O Holy Name, the Vedas declare that meditation on the impersonal Brahman cannot bring freedom from karmic reactions, that they must be enjoyed or suffered, but that when you manifest in one's consciousness, all karma at once disappears. Agadamana Yashoda Nandana Nanda Suno Kamalanayana Gopi Chandra Vrindavanendra Pranata Karuna Krishna Ityaneka Sarupe Tvai Mamarati Rucharvadayam Amadheyam. O Holy Name, you have many forms such as Agadamana, crusher of Agasura, Yashoda Nandana, darling child Yashoda, Nanda Suno, son of Nanda, Kamala Nayana, lotus-eyed one, Gopi Chandra, moon of the gopis, Vrindavanendra, king of Vrindavan, Pranata Karuna, he who is merciful to the surrendered souls, and Krishna. I pray that my love for you in your many forms may greatly increase. Vacham vachakam ityudeti bhavato nama swarupa dvayam purvasmat parameva hanta karunam tatrapi janimahe yastasmin vihita prarabdha nivaha prani samantad bhaved asnyededam upasya sopihi sadanandam buddhao mujjati. O Holy Name, you manifest two forms, the Supreme Person you designate and the sound vibration that designates. We know that the second form is more merciful than the first, because even if a person offends your first form in many ways, you plunge him into an ocean of transcendental bliss if he serves your second form with his voice. Sudatitashita janarti rashaye ramya chit gana sukha swarupine nama gokula mahotsavayate Krishna purna vapushe namo namah. O Holy Name, you destroy the many sufferings of those who take shelter of you. You are the very form of concentrated spiritual bliss, a festival of happiness for Gokula, and the perfect and complete form of Lord Krishna. Again and again I bow to you. Narda vino jivana sudormi niryasi madhuri pura tam Krishna nama kamam spurame rasane rasena sada. O an enlivener of Narda's vina, O flood of the waves of sweet nectar, O holy name of Lord Krishna, please forever manifest on my tongue with all your nectarian sweetness. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande, Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande, Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande. Manasa Madhu Karamarapaya Nijapada Pankaja Makarande Krishna Deva Bhavandam Bande Yadapi Samadhishu Bhitirapi Pashyati Naktavunaka Gramarichin Krishna Deva Bhavandam Bande Idam Ichchami Nisham Yatavachita Tadapi Krita Buddha Vishin Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande. Next. Bhaktirudan Shati Yapi Madhava Natvai Mama Kila Matri Krishna Deva Bhavandam Bande Parameshvara Tatarapi Tavadika Purgata Gatanda Vidatri Krishna Deva Bhavantam Vande Ayama Vilola Jaya Sanatana Kalita Vitarasavaram Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande Nivasatu Nityayiham Ratanindati Vindan Madhuri Masaram Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande O Lord Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you. Please fix my bee-like mind in the nectar of your lotus feet. O Achyuta, although the great Lord Brahma, this trance of samadhi, is even a particle of the effulgence emanating from the tips of the nails of your lotus feet. Still I desire this vision, for I have heard the wonderful ways of your mercy. O Madhava, although my devotion for you does not come forth even a tiny bit, because you are the Supreme Lord above all, you are the accomplisher of the impossible. O Sanatan, your lotus feet surpass even the nectar of the gods. Finding in this lotus flower of your feet the essence of sweetness, which is endowed with truly wonderful melody, I pray that today the bee of my mind may eternally reside there. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande. Deva Bhavantam Bande. We can stay seated for a minute for the prayers before Sri Guru Vandanam. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Page Chekeba. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Page Chekeba. Shrishta Manamapi Shachi Putra Matra Sarupam Rupam Tasya Grajam Uruparim Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Givaramo Radhika Madhavasham Rapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Kandakosmi He Guru Jnanadarina Bandho Swanandana Karanaika Sindho Vrindavana Sida Hitavatara Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara He Dina Bandho Karanaika Sindho Guru Prasadam Maimanda Mudhe Lakshaparade Bahupapagade Tatpamatmatmais Krishna Krishna Yadyapi Amara Guru Chaitanya Das Tatapi Janiyami Kahara Prakash Guru Krishna Rupahaya Shastraya Pramane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karena Bhakta Gane Shiksha Guru Keta Jani Krishna Rasarupa Antaryami Bhakta Shrestha Eduri Rupa Naivo Payantya Pachitim Gavayasta Vesha Brahma Yushapi Kritam Ritam Utasmadanta Yontar Bahista Nuvritam Mashubam Vajunvan Acharya Chaitya Vapushaswadatim Yanati. Without serving the representative of Krishna, nobody can approach Krishna. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachi Mata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatana Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kund, Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Shri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore grace me with your mercy, so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. Although I know that my spiritual master is the servitor of Sri Chaitanya, I know him also as a plenary manifestation of the Lord. Every living entity is eternally a servant of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Therefore the spiritual master cannot be other than a servant of Lord Chaitanya. The spiritual master's eternal occupation is to expand the service of the Lord by training disciples in a service attitude. According to the deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of the spiritual master, delivers his devotees. The relationship of the disciple with his spiritual master is as good as his relationship with the Supreme Lord. Spiritual masters always represent themselves as the humblest servitors of the personality of God. But the disciple must look upon the spiritual master as the manifested representation of Godhead. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as the Supersoul and is the greatest devotee of the Lord. The initiating spiritual master is the personal manifestation of Srila Madan Mohan Vigraha, whereas the instructing spiritual master is the personal representative of Srila Govinda Dev Vigraha. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you endured two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which to attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates, by him ignorance is destroyed. Vedic scriptures sing in this character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and Master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevalabha Gati Sadma. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevalabha Gati Sadma. Bando Krishna Prapti Hoy Krishna Prapti Hoy Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Chekoriya Oikya. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Koriya Aikya. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya kori ho mani asa. Guru charane rati samagati. Sri Guru charane rati samagati. Prema bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasa jate. Prema bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasa jate. Vede gai jahara charita. Vede gai jahara charita. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu. Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu. Lokanath Kera Divana. Lokanath Kera Divana. Prabhu Kola Doya. Jasti Kiruvana. Jasti Kiruvana. Aha Prabhu Kora Doya Te Amore Pada Jaya. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jaya Prabhupada. Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Srimate Bhaktivedanta Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shundavadi Paschatya Sarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Radha Srivasadi Gaur Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Hadaya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah Gopal Govinda Ram Srimati Sudan Giridhari Gopinath Madan Mohan Chaitanya Nityananda Sri H.G.Vaisesika Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita Shri Rup Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopal Bhakta Das Raghunath, H.I. Gosai Kori Charananda, Jaha Hoite Dignanai Abhishta Puran, H.I. Gosai Jar Muni Tarda, Sankamara Pararenu Mora Panchagra, Kangara Charana Saibe Bhakta Saribas, Janame Janame Hoye Abhilas, H.I. Gosai Jabe Bhajne Oilabas, Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash, Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. Get ready! Bolo Anande Bolo Hare Bhaja Vrindavan, Bolo Anande Bolo Hare Bhaja Vrindavan, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Mojo Niyaman, Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Kore Ash, Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottamo Das, Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottamo Das, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Keep that drum. Go, go, go. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Nam Bhajan, holy name. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Shri Hari Nam Sankirtan ki, Shri Nam Mantra ki, Shri Nam Prabhu ki, Gaur Premanande. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtottara Sadashri Srimad Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtottara Sata Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki Shri Vrindavan Dham ki, Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki, Shri Jagannath Puri ki, Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi ki, Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Narada hai main.
Girivaradhari Jashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Nanam Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. I first offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and to all the previous acharyas. Today I dedicate my class to Srivas Pandit Prabhu, whose birthday it is today. Thank you for keeping the transcendental vibration going. So many decades teaching the Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, and Bhakti Vedanta. And soon to come, Bhakti Sarvabhauma. We'll have to insist upon it. and working together with Malini, Gitavali, worshiping your deities, making your home a center for Sankirtan. And you've been a pillar, your whole family, combinedly, one pillar, in educating devotees and educating the world with that knowledge. Imagine what's come out of your household, especially Gitavali. Amazing. From the bottom of my heart and from all the devotees here, we prayed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the acharyas to empower you more and more to teach Srila Prabhupada's message through his books so that people may inculcate it into the people here at Silicon Valley who are sitting in their homes waiting for a devotee to come down the road and knock on their door and give them a little mercy. Hare Krishna. I also dedicate today's class to Krishna Ganga Prabhu, one of our very dear disciples. We loved him so much. In Toronto, his health had been failing. The last time we were there in Toronto, he was in a care home. Every time we met him, we realized how potent the Sankirtan movement is. He had become such a sincere and dedicated devotee, doing whatever was needed. He loved Sankirtan, and he had no connection with Vedic culture at all. But he was taken in by the love of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees, and we really miss him. So to you, Krishna Ganga Prabhu, safe passage to your next station of service. May we meet again soon, because we love you so much and it hurts our heart to be in separation. Hare Krishna. And today, for Srimad Bhagavatam class, I'm going to read a thesis that I put together, albeit quickly, although I must say I've thought about it a few times, but I just wrote it down as a very rough draft, and then proceed after the thesis to discuss the possible ways of fleshing out this thesis in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th cantos. Is that correct? Yes. It happens that as a requirement for my Bhaktivedanta degree, I have to write a paper, I think 10,000, 15,000 words. And I've been thinking about this concept for a while and would like to bring it out in the 7th through 12th cantos. And so, Tejas, you ready? All the pundits here, we can discuss and come with some ideas. After I finish this, I'll give somebody else my computer, as long as you know how to work a Mac. And maybe you can type in a few things. Okay. One must overcome 3 psychological anomalies to attain the goal of life, Krishna Prema. Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and the association of devotees is the means to overcome these 3. And the 3 are attachment, fear, and anger. Krishna knows us better than we know ourselves. Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna, appearing to us in sound. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin prati shlokam abadyavatyapi namanyanantasya yashon kitani yet shrinvanti gayanti gurnanti sadhava. Narada Muni says to Srila Vyasadeva, in encouraging him to go much further than he had before in bringing the Vedanta Sutra, the Upanishads, the Vedanta Sutra, the various Puranas, Itihasas to the world. He wasn't fully satisfied. Purana means to complete the Vedas and make them more easily understandable. Jiva Goswami explains, contrary to what Shankaracharya says, which is the Vedas are more important than the Itihasas and Puranas. Jiva Goswami gives a comparison of a gold chain if a link is missing, you can't replace it with iron. You have to replace it with the quality of gold that's in the rest of the chain. Otherwise, it'll be incomplete. Since the Puranas means complete, means that the Puranas are the same quality as the Vedas. In fact, they're more important, he says, Dasa Jiva Goswami in the Tattva Sandarbha, in the Kali Yuga age, because access to the vibration of the Vedas, there is no access in Silicon Valley. However, the Puranas explain the Vedas in such a way that we can have an entryway into them. And what's more, he points out that of all the Puranas, and there are various categories of Puranas for those in the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. And then there's the Amala Purana, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Nigama Kalpa Torar Galitam Palam. It's the fruit of the Nigama, of all the Vedic scriptures. Here, the tree bears fruit, and it's the ultimate authority on everything. It's even not necessary, it wasn't necessary for Baladeva Vidyabhusana to write a commentary, although he did, just to quell the angst of other sampradayas who said, what's with you, you Gaudiyas? You have no proper commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. And for years they said, yes, we do. It's the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the natural commentary, which means the commentary made by the author himself. After all, who wrote the Vedanta Sutra? Srila Vyasadeva. Then he also compiled Srimad Bhagavatam after meeting his spiritual master and going into samadhi at Shamyaprash, surrounded by berry trees and no internet there. No modes of nature either, which just sounds nice. And in samadhi, he realized his eternal connection with Krishna, all living beings' connection with Krishna, their enthrallment and thus suffering in Maya, and the means for rising above it was Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyan Taksto Hipadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. By hearing about Krishna, which he hadn't done completely enough according to Narada Muni, his spiritual master. Therefore, when he came out of Samadhi, we have Srimad Bhagavatam, which is also known as Samadhi Bhashya. You know what people say when they wake up in the morning? That's kind of Swapna Bhashya. Or when people have jet lag, you can say some pretty profound things when you have jet lag. It's a liminal state. But Samadhi Bhashya means when you have complete absorption in Krishna and you've seen him directly. And that's what Srila Vyasadeva gave us in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of Krishna, in Vrindavan, Dwarka, in Mathura and Dwarka, and so much more. And so we have the process of hearing to overcome the anomalies. So these anomalies, I haven't finished reading the thesis yet, I'll get to it, are there in the Bhagavad Gita. In summary form, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. Raga means an irrational attachment to matter. It doesn't make a bit of sense. In fact, a material desire by definition, we find in the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the story of Hiranyakashipu, is a desire that cannot be fulfilled. Krishna alludes to it in the Bhagavad Gita also when he says, Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkayona evate adyantavanta konteya nateshu namate buddha. People who have become spiritually intelligent understand that it's irrational to try to enjoy matter, and it's frustrating because it has a beginning and an end and we don't. And we don't like that a bit, do we? Right. So, raga means this attachment to that which is temporary, asat. It's not sat, it's asat. And then bhaya means fear. And this is the overarching feeling of everyone in the material world, is fear. Bhayam tvitiya abhinibeshata syad ishad apetasya viparya yosmriti tanmaya to buddha abhajetan bhakyaika yesham gurudeva tatma. Fear arises when one sees anything separately from the Lord. This is something that Krishna told Brahma also. Ratertam yat pratyeta na pratyeta chatmani tadvidyad atmano mayam yata bhaso yata tamaha. If you interact with anything in this world and interpret it as separate from the Lord, that's illusion. There is nothing separate from the Lord. Everything emanates from Him. Everything is part of His energy, even though He has a separate identity from all of His energies at the same time. But in that absorption in an illusory world, which is the reflection of reality, one is bewildered by the Lord's potency for illusion called Maya. Tan Maya, to Buddha Abhajet Ton. But when one becomes intelligent, then he or she engages in the process of devotional service, which is enacted in 9 processes. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam, Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu, Bhaktish Jen Navalakshana, Kriyata Bhagavat Yada, Tanmayam, Ditamutamam. Prahlad Maharaj says, one who has decided to surrender to Krishna through these 9 methods is the most intelligent person because they've come to complete knowledge. However, when one is bereft of the process of devotional service and is absorbed, abhinibheshata, in thinking that they have a separate existence from God, ignoring God, or thinking that God is dead, or that the energy of God is different from God, then one feels fear. Bhayam syat, fear arises naturally from that. And when one turns one's attention back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as is the prerogative of those who have rotated in the material world for many lifetimes, Bahunam Jamanamante Gyanam Ma Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Saturlabha. One becomes aware of the fact Krishna is everything. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Then one can become free from that fear. The fear also, I'm going to read the rest of this before I... Attachment, fear, and anger are the 3 horsemen that hold us back from our relationship with Krishna and our eternal blissful life. A living being becomes attached to matter as matter reflects reality, and without complete knowledge of reality, the uninformed soul chooses the reflection over the source and thus lives in perpetual cognitive dissonance. Within that reflection, the socially interactive soul is repeatedly disappointed by temporary and unfulfilling relationships, soured by conflict, or severed by death. Averse to relationships which cause pain, he develops fear of relationships with other entities and specifically fears a personal relationship with God. He subsequently wishes to sublimate or even to annihilate his own self. So those are the 3 are contained, hopefully, within that statement, as raga, attachment to that which is here today, gone tomorrow, temporary. And then there's bhaya, which is a fear of personhood. And third is, and personal relationship with Krishna, with God, because we're disappointed. And then third is a kind of intellectual despair, which comes about by a sense of, is engendered by those who don't have a proper system of knowledge. There are those under the banner of deconstructionists who say that there is no end to any discussion, that there's no Vedanta or end to knowledge. It's an infinite regress of ideas, but there's always some fault in them. Those types of philosophies have been around since the beginning of philosophy. And then there's another class of philosophers who say that no, you haven't gone far enough, and that there is an end to knowledge. That's the real purpose of it. So, in the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, I was considering this morning that it starts off with a discussion between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadeva Goswami, as one might expect. And Parikshit Maharaj poses a question based on a doubt he has. And this is a pervasive doubt that people have. And that is God impartial? He says, it seems that he's partial. Now, this would come under one of those anomalies. It could lead to an opinion that God is either monstrous or that the idea of a personal God is not valid. And so the discussion takes place there where Shukadeva says, yes, he is impartial. The word that might describe Shukadeva's presentation of Krishna is that he's accommodating. He accommodates everyone. The Sri Upanishad says, Sapari gachru kram akayam avranam asnaviram shudam apapavidham kavir manishi paribhu swayambur yatatyator tanviradashasvatibhya samabhya. That he's completely transcendental, has no vested interest in the material world. His body is not material. Furthermore, he's the benefactor of all living entities. He's been fulfilling their desires since the time immemorial. Therefore, what's the problem? Well, Parikshit Maharaj and our acharyas follow up on this. Parikshit Maharaj said it has to do with our involvement in the 3 modes of material nature. Those who are influenced by lower modes of nature have an inferior set of desires that are being fulfilled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the agency of his material nature. Whereas the Devas, they appear to be favored by the Lord because the Devas, by definition, are in the mode of goodness. And therefore, they got their heads screwed on straight. And they're asking for those things which are in the mode of goodness, which are smarter choices and desires than passionate and ignorant desires. As we hear from Bhagavad Gita, because passion seems like a good idea at the time, but then you really get entangled. And there are endless strings attached. And the mode of ignorance means that from the point of view of those who have any standing in goodness, it's simply self-destructive. But when we come to the mode of goodness, we may ask for that which is in our self-interest. Yesham tvanta katam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvanva mohanir mukta bhajanti mam drajavrata. Krishna confirms that in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, that those who are purified and who are in sattva, they have a clearer idea of what they should be doing in the world. Therefore, they're dritavrata about the right things. And an example that our acharyas give is a classroom where the teacher is equitably disposed towards all the students. However, some students do their homework and others don't. Sound familiar? It's possible. Somebody listens and somebody falls asleep. So they compare that to Krishna as equitable, but some people are asleep, other people don't do their homework, therefore they have no intelligent questions to ask. And there are those who are fully attentive and able to take advantage of Krishna. And therefore, we find the image of Krishna or the character of Krishna to be that he's equitably disposed towards everyone. And he mentions that in the Gita also, that samoham sarvabhuteshu nami dveshos dinapriya ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham, that I'm equal to everybody. And then he says, but if one picks up the mood of the devotees and begins to worship me in bhakti, the word bhakti comes from bhaj, then that person becomes intimately connected with me through that process. And I'm in him and he's in me, and we are all together. Sorry, it's from another song. So, the seventh canto, in this vein, gives us a different view of the Lord from the perspective of Shukadeva Goswami. And then, of course, the seventh canto traces back, or as Bhagavad Ashraya would say, sheets back, to the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, or fourth, when we have the Kumaras come in contact with Lord Narayan and Vaikuntha. And although they are not attached to the material world at all, quite noticeably so, by the association of Lord Narayan, by being in proximity to him, they become devotees. They're enlightened. We also find the birth of Hiranyakashipu, which of course is connected to the seventh canto, and Hiranyaka, that when Krishna kills the demon Hiranyaka, he attains liberation. And similarly, Hiranyakashipu gets benefit. This is one of the points made in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that Krishna is all good. He's equitably disposed to everybody, and he also does good even when he's killing. So, my thesis is that Krishna gives these three psychological anomalies in the Bhagavad Gita and says, Vita, you have to overcome them. And that by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, we can very specifically overcome these three anomalies by understanding how irrational it is to pursue material desires. And there's a replacement for that, which is the variety of the spiritual world and spiritual desire. And then the personhood of Krishna is presented throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we become acquainted with his not just equitable, but also very sweet nature, so that we can overcome the fear of a relationship with him. And thirdly, the Srimad Bhagavatam, which I haven't spoken much about, krodha, or intellectual despair, means that one becomes confused about the process of knowledge or philosophy itself, thinking that there's no end to it. But the Srimad Bhagavatam walks us step by step through the various aspects of God. For instance, Vedanti tat vavidas tatvam yajgyanamad vayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan dishabdite. Says he's one, but he has variety. And what's more, we can come to a siddhanta, or a clear understanding of who Krishna is and who we are in relationship with Krishna, And that begins our eternal relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world. And thus we can overcome krodha, or the frustration of competing philosophies, or intellectual despair, which means that I think that there's no end to knowledge because everyone's saying something here seemingly different. Where does it all end? So that ends in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So those are a few thoughts that I thought I'd put before you. I'd like to say we're extremely happy to be back. We don't know how we got waylaid for so long in coming back here. Seems to be somehow Krishna's arrangement. And thank you for keeping the business of the acharyas going here in such an exemplary way. And thanks for keeping our place warm. Now, if we could have some discussion about any of the points I made, albeit haphazardly made, and if somebody who knows how to write fast and accurately would take my computer and do so, somebody who knows how to write on a Mac. Thank you. Okay.
Maharaj, you mentioned that Krishna has been fulfilling our desires since time immemorial. So why does Krishna fulfill our desires if he knows that some of them are not good for us?
Probably gives an example of his own child at one point who was rambunctious, and during a hot day, when the fan was going on the table, it's a table fan, and Prabhupada was having a discussion with a friend, and his little son was causing a ruckus, trying to climb up and touch the fan. And Prabhupada, as his father, kept blocking him from coming up, and then his friend said, well, why don't you turn it down and then let him touch it and find out for himself. And they did that, and he wasn't injured or hurt, but he did get a sense for why he shouldn't climb up there himself. And so there's a way in which in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find in chapter 87 of the 10th canto, the second verse, if you want to put it up, says that the Lord's created the universe for two purposes. Because we are living beings, as we're a special energy. We're amphibious. The word, when we say amphibious, what do you think of? Turtle? They're animals that can live both in the water or on land. Beavers are like that too. They do live on the water and the land. And amphi means two, and bios means life, means you can live either place. So we can live either place. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 1087 too. And there in the beginning, is that number 2? Go down. That's it. Go back. Thank you. Shukadeva Goswami said the Supreme Lord manifested the material intelligence, senses, and mind and vital air of the living entities so they could indulge their desires for sense gratification, take repeated births to engage in fruitive activities, become elevated in future lives, and ultimately attain liberation. So we have opportunity to live in the material or spiritual environment, and Krishna gives facility for either one. His ultimate goal for the living entity is that the living entity be happy. After all, we're part and parcel of Krishna, and our nature is to be blissfully engaged in service to the Lord. So it's a kind of it's a didactic process, the material world. It's meant to teach us, and it's a very liberal kind of educational system, which is the best kind, because Krishna wants us to make a choice by our free will. Realize that we have free will and not retreat from it, because that's another tendency. I think I talked about it before we left. There's a book called Escape from Freedom, which makes a compelling argument for the fact that people in general are afraid of freedom. And once they get it, they have this sense of insecurity, so then they gravitate towards authoritarianism and other ways in which they can give up their free choice. They choose to give up their free will. And so there's that environment in the material world. Krishna gives the opportunity for us to come to knowledge. He provides all knowledge from within the heart and externally through Vyasadeva and so forth. But he wants us to make our own choice. When I go out to distribute books, I always find it intriguing how free will works. And I'm more interested in presenting Krishna consciousness to people, especially if you have an object for them to take and decide upon, a book, by their own free will. It's a much more edifying experience when you present, I present, and then they make their own choice, rather than bamboozling them into taking it through psychological coercion. So Krishna doesn't try to coerce us. He gives us knowledge and allows us to make a free choice. And in that lies the very purpose of the dichotomy, which is when you freely choose, you come to knowledge and you freely choose to serve Krishna. It comes by your own volition, which we have. And we have to discover it and not be afraid of it. And we have to use it to surrender to Krishna and serve him. And from that, there's this very deep relationship that is utterly, completely fulfilling. Because, ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham, Krishna says, when you decide that you just want me by your own volition, then I embrace you so completely and fully. But we have to come to it ourselves. Okay, I'll give shorter answers, progressively shorter. Who is next? Okay, Okay, Bali, and then we'll come over to Ritvik. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hare Krishna, first of all, welcome back after 7 weeks.
Thank you very much.
Rivo.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Don't give us too much because we're leaving again in a few weeks. Go ahead.
And also I'd like to congratulate that your Bhakti Vedanta thesis is coming off so nicely. Just I have a quick, my own insight about is there any superlative qualities as you chose for attachment, anger and fear over lust and envy? Because those are also more prominent qualities to overcome in order to attain love of Godhead. So what is the rationale? And probably maybe have personal preference, but if you could give some insight. Thank you.
Well, thinking about these three categories as overarching and covering all of them, the kind of anomalies that you mentioned, the kam, krodh, lobh, mada, moha, matsarya. 6, right? Mada, moha, matsarya. This kam is material desire, which is, by definition, I said before, I like saying it again because it really gives us perspective in one little sutra, which is a desire we can't fulfill. And that comes up when Brahma is ruminating about the question, the request that Hiranyakashipu is making, and he says, don't ask for benedictions that you can't enjoy peacefully. And we see the result of it. And that's something that Prahlad Maharaj mentions in his prayers. Nechchami tvam vilulitam uruvikramena kamatalam kamanalam naliban Madulavai Shamara Durapai. Or is that from the other verse? Nechchami tvam vilulitam. In any case, he says, I don't desire anything in the material world anymore because I already saw my father get everything, and then he couldn't enjoy it peacefully, to say the least. I mean, he got his guts ripped out. So that happens. So then, kam, crowed. Crowed is there, anger, which is, Krishna describes, arises from material desire. Jayato visham pumsam sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodha vijayate. Because of irrationally desiring that which is temporary, we become inevitably, he describes it as an algorithm. How helpful is that, to have an algorithm? He says, this is what's going to happen if you desire something that's temporary, then you're going to get angry because you didn't get it. So that's covered. Kam, krod, lobe, which is greed. What category does that come under? Attachment, again. Lobe, because there's no end to it. It's like you put desires are mentioned in Bhagavatam, little drops of ghee and fire, and it just gets bigger. You try to put it out. Mada, moha, matsarya. Mada means madness. Moha means illusion. They all fit that. Mada, moha, and matsarya, envy. Envy is born of ignorance in the sense that when we forget that we have a relationship with Krishna, who's our best friend and who's the best resource you're ever going to meet. I was introduced to somebody who said, he'll be a good resource for you. Who could be a better resource than Krishna? Actually, Krishna says it himself, I'm the best resource. Bhoktaram yagatapasam sarvalokamayeshwaram suridam sarvbhutanam gyatvamam shandari. You want a resource? I own everything. Everything comes from me. So envy, it can be overcome when one realizes one's relationship with Krishna. So I'll have to play with those a little bit and find some nuance for them. Thanks for bringing up the question. I think there's a good place for that. Okay, Ritvika, you're next. Oh, I see Divya has her hand up too, so she'll come. We have two. Okay, and then Radhabalava Prabhu, and then, okay.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, I'm so happy that you're back and you're in good health. I was wondering, it's kind of off topic about this, but in isolated countries like North Korea, meat-eating, lush, greedy countries like in Asia or anywhere really, how do they get into Krishna consciousness? Because many countries' governments ban them from doing any other religions besides being atheist or their own religion.
I'll give you the service of making a think tank of how to infiltrate North Korea. You can hear from Devamrita Swami how when there was an Iron Curtain with Eastern Europe and due to the despotism there was, and communist rule, there was no scope for preaching there. At times, devotees found the schedule of boats that would go under bridges. They would bring packets of books, and they would drop them from the bridge so they'd land on the boat going in there. They'd also risk their own freedom by putting books in the engine blocks of cars. I hope your mom's not listening now and don't get any ideas. No, do get ideas. But they innovated to infiltrate those areas with transcendental knowledge. And I've heard of some attempts, although it weren't from devotees, there are people who are outsiders that are making these, what do you call it? You plug into your computer, it's got a little USB, but it's a, huh? Yeah, pen drive. A pen drive, they're making pen drives and smuggling those in different places. But it worked in Eastern Europe. In fact, there's a history of that in the book I wrote, Our Family Business, because when the books, there was perestroika, and then the trucks of books were allowed in, although they barely made it, because although the country was turning in a certain direction, there were still a lot of people there that didn't allow it. Because it takes a while for those things to saturate the minds and hearts of the people in charge. But after that, Krishna consciousness really spread, so it's possible. Okay, who is next? There's one over here. Radha Ballabha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And once again, welcome back.
Thank you.
Very nice presentation. I really enjoyed listening every word. Recently, I was invited by Kula Pradip Prabhu to Stanford. I was speaking to some students, interfaith meeting was there. And I was finding it so tough to present that God is a person, because I was speaking about prasadam and yajna, and it has to be offered to be purified. So without a personal God, it was very difficult to present. And here you said so nicely that I think that attachment and fear prevents one to accept a personal form of God. I just felt from your presentation the same thing. And my question is how to really reach to this, they're very attentive, very trying to understand, very inquisitive students, I saw them. And usually when we present, it is sometimes very difficult to reach their heart and trying to convince them there is a personal God. So can you please enlighten?
Yeah, I can say something about it because that's what I've been working on recently. Two questions I want to answer in something I'm writing that may also go in this book. Thank you for positioning it. What is sacred? And then why is it logical that there's a personal God? And I feel that we have to be able to present that straightforwardly, because we can say self-realization and yoga, meditation, get free from stress. You've heard of stress before, right? Sure. Where we cross the bridge is to present the idea of personhood in God, and then sacredness, because there is a way in which people have abandoned the idea, although no one has, because it's impossible to abandon the idea of sacredness. The reason I thought of sacredness, it's a similarly important issue to establish what is sacred. So people in some cultures are allergic to the idea of sacredness. Once when I was at Kennedy Airport and I was going through security, I had my deities with me, happened to be stones, and they wanted to open my bag because they couldn't tell what it was. Besides puja paraphernalia, it looks really odd to people. It's like, what the heck is that? And in India, you go Bhagavan Bhagavan, and they go, go, go. But at Kennedy Airport, I was going through and they're opening my stuff and they said, what's in here? And I said, sacred stone. And they got a little interested. And there was a group of people who were also going through security and they started looking too, like, what are they going to open? And so one guy was behind me when they opened it and there was a stone from Govardhan Hill. I said, what makes it sacred? He said. Not in a challenging way, but he was just interested, like we were on a field trip or something. And I said, well, because it's from a mountain that was lifted by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. It's the only thing I could think of to say immediately. And he held it aloft for 7 days, and he goes, oh, okay. I think he didn't want to be rude and start a debate or anything like that at that point, but describing the personhood of God and what is sacred. First of all, there's a logical progression that one can take because say science versus faith-based ideas. People make this dichotomy and they say empiricism is tangible, it's solid, whereas faith-based ideas are not. However, if you just ask ChatGPT, give me 10 imponderables in science, it will immediately come back with, good idea, what a good question. Unless you change the filter to be more challenging. I like it the way it is. And it'll give you 10 ways in which science has, and these are major issues, like the nature of consciousness, as an example, black holes. There are many, many that are unanswered by science, no clue whatsoever. And the scientific process also requires axiomatic truth. You have to have faith in some principle, for instance, that you can know something. How do you know that you can know something? How do you know that you even exist? You can't prove that empirically. It's self-evident. And there has to be a process in any case through empiricism to say that there is an axiomatic truth. And it's the same when we approach spiritual science. Only one is pointed outwardly and the other one is pointed inwardly. We also, through the Tattva Sandarbha, understand the scientific process of understanding something. We have to establish what do we accept as evidence, and Jiva Goswami, minus all the details right now, gives us the background for that why we can't accept knowledge that comes through our senses. We have to have a self-revealing source of knowledge, which ends up to being Shabda Pramana, or scripture. Shastra Yonidvat, the Shastras say. And so it is science. So taking a logical approach, and I'll read this another time because I'm running out of time now, but I wrote a list of logical steps, not in a combative way, but to accommodate the mindset of those who are used to understanding things through empiricism, because that's mostly what the Academy teaches, and gives a nexus between science and empirical science and spiritual science so that they could open their minds and accept it. Basically, it's just proving that you're using the same framework in order to come to the conclusion. Only ours requires a slightly different set of instruments because we're examining something that is not part of the phenomenal world. It's beyond it, so you need a different set of tools. As far as sacredness goes, it's in the same vein that we already accept sacredness. For instance, anytime somebody looks at a sunset and feels a sense of awe, what is that? What is that feeling? If we were merely material beings, we wouldn't have a sense for awe when we see aesthetic beauty, nor would we appreciate justice. These are metaphysical. They're beyond the calculation of empiricism. And so, John Muir, that you guys call something else like Muri, it's John Muir. You know him, right? From Muir Woods? What do you call it? Muir Woods? He was a conservationist, and he saved that, made it a national park. Not a national park, he made it I forget what it's called, it's even better. But in any case, in his writings, he talks about Yosemite in a way that it's a cathedral, and so forth. And so Radhika Raman Prabhu, in one of his last lectures he gave here, he talked about coming to the point of understanding where the divine is. You could say, well, it's in nature. Nature's always been there. It's the ultimate. But it makes much more sense, he presented logically, to step beyond that, which you're already accepting sacredness. You're already accepting some sense of personality, but take it to the next level, which is Bhagavan, which is what Jiva Goswami does. And another point I made, or I'm trying to make, is about when we feel gratitude. It has to trace back to a personality. There has to be personhood in order for there to be gratitude. Because gratitude depends on the person's benevolent intent. If a box of papayas falls off a truck and you just pick it up and they drive off and they didn't see it, you can feel happy, you got some mangoes, but you can't feel gratitude because they didn't intend to do it. If they pulled over and said, "Are you hungry?" and you said, "I'm very hungry," and they gave you the papayas, there was personal intent and it was benevolent, therefore you can feel gratitude. So when somebody says, "I'm grateful the universe gave me a car," I prayed for a car and the universe gave me a car. You're in California, you've heard that before. That has to trace back, if you're grateful, okay, make it the universal form, which is what Shukadev does at the beginning of the Bhagavatam, or trace it back to a person. It's a natural psychology anyway. You look at child psychology, I was looking at it, how children in their artwork tend to personalize everything. It's a natural instinct that we have, because we're persons. And that's the part where Bhaya in Raga, Bhaya Krodha, we get afraid of personhood because of having our relationship with other persons severed, or finding imperfect persons that we're associated with, and therefore we think, well, okay, if we're looking for a perfect world, it would have no personality. But that's not necessary. So anyway, that's some just wrangling. But thanks for the question, because these questions help give more impetus to precise answers. We're working on it. Who was next? Oh yeah, Divya.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, my question is how to cultivate faith that Krishna will protect us, because there are times we are in a kind of like a material problem that won't go away no matter what we do, and it seems like there's no solution to it. And even if we pray and even if we try with our own efforts, still there's no nothing, no remedy or no solution. At that point, how do we cultivate faith that Krishna will help or protect?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And coming to such a feeling may require going through some experiences in this world that are trying. We become purified by fire-like experiences. It's like gold is purified by fire. So one of the elements And a didactic part of the material world is that we undergo loss, gain, suffering, sometimes apparent happiness, and so forth. And if we are observant as we go through our lives about who is actually taking care of us, we can, step by step, come to a conclusion that it's all Krishna taking care of us. Yasmin yato yarhi yena cha yasya yasmat, yasmayata yarutaras twapara parova, bhava karoti vikaroti bhavak bhava sanshoditastar akilam bhavatak swarupam. Which is basically Prahlad Maharaj's way of saying that I've analyzed everything. I've seen through my father, through this whole experience I've been through with Hiranyakashipu, my father, that you're behind everything. I mean, the way it came out, he could understand that everything is Krishna. And so you have to live your life with an awareness of try to find that. I can give an anecdote from my own life, which is just outliving my parents. It's a visceral experience having losing parents. Even people who have bad relationships with their family members or parents, if one of them passes, it's a very trying time because they're really tied into our identity in this world. And they raise us in a certain context, and that was because of momentum from a previous life. They were custom fit into a particular family. So it's really part of our identity. And so losing a parent is very difficult. However, because of my context of Krishna consciousness, although I found it emotionally traumatizing in a way. In fact, when my mother died, first my father died, then my mother, I remember taking a walk around the neighborhood, and already some news had spread that my mother had passed. So somebody was driving by as I was going for a walk, and they rolled down their window and they asked me how I was. And I honestly had to say, and I can't remember what I told them, but I said I felt like I got beat up. Have you ever been beat up before? You know, people beat you up. I felt like people had put a sack over my head and just beat me to a pulp. That's how I felt. And I was analyzing it that, why do I feel like that? The conclusion I came to is that psychically, my subtle body, my psychological body, there was an umbilical cord connected to my mother still. Although it's cut at birth, the gross physical one, there's still the subtle one. Everything's tied into that. But as I continued to chant Hare Krishna and read Srimad Bhagavatam, I had what arose was a realization that my mother and my father were Krishna's representatives. In one way, I was thinking they were Krishna. It was just Krishna, they put a mask on somebody else. And here's Krishna, but that's your mama. But that's actually Krishna. And one of the ways that I had that realization was I read in the Bhagavad Gita where Prabhupada said, if you realize the love of your mother, and then you think of that times 10 million, that's Krishna. So then I thought, okay, that was my little taste of unconditional love from Krishna coming through my mother. And so in all instances in our life, as we continue the process of Krishna consciousness throughout our life and cultivate that perspective, it becomes ingrown. The way we see the world, the way we interact with others and so forth, and the way we realize Krishna's protection. We see, oftentimes in retrospect, there's a a video that I saw on where else but YouTube of this guy walking down the street. He was very stern and he's very matter of fact, and he keeps like bumping people or pushing people out of the way, and they're like, "Hey, what?" And then you'll notice that he pushed somebody 2 seconds before they got hit by a car. Or somebody else, there was an anvil probably falling from the sky, and the other one was pushed through. What it seems like is you're getting slammed. But when you play out your life and you look at in retrospect, you go like, oh, I see the protection. But that takes some cultivation to see a Krishna's hand in everything. And when we have that, we're seeing reality because Krishna is protecting us at every minute. Even though the material world is endlessly mutable and whatever material situation we have now is going to change, that's part of his protection, is to give us clarity in the Bhagavad Gita from the very beginning. We just have to listen a little more carefully. For instance, which part of the material universe is suffering from Brahmaloka to Patalaloka did you not get? I'm like, yeah, right, except for my neighborhood and my family and so forth, or my material body is going to do fine. Not necessarily true. In fact, categorically untrue. And Krishna gives us other categorical philosophical points to consider as we interact with the material world. And that's the idea of vidyam cha yas tadvedo bayam saha, my most quoted verse. Avidya yamritum tirtva, vidya yamritum ashante. You have to be observant. As you're cultivating spiritual knowledge, you're supposed to see how things are turning out ultimately. And that can lead you to a complete dependence on Krishna, because that's true. And you'll come to realize it in due course of time. Thanks, Divya, for such an important question. And we never want to be glib about such answers, because people really do suffer in this world. We all do. And when we're confronted with annihilation or the threat of being deprived of something, it really can seem dire and we may be overwhelmed. Another example I'll give is a realization I had during the Loma Prieta earthquake here in California, Bay Area, circa 89, and we weren't so much affected, except for if you watch the news, you figure the whole Bay Area's finished. And lots of people from other places called and said, "Are you okay?" It's like, yeah, a couple things fell off our shelves. But freeways did break. The Bay Bridge did have a section that fell out of it, and so forth. And I was thinking afterwards, because there are so many rigid structures that we've built and we expect them to stay there, don't you expect your house to be there when you get home? Not really, because I have insurance, because I'm always thinking it might not be. But we do build things with an idea of permanence, which is, just from a geological point of view, it's not so wise. I mean, I was thinking after Loma Prieta earthquake, where things caved in and everyone freaked out, it's that, hey, if we lived in teepees, we barely would have noticed. I mean, the water would have sloshed around, but a teepee is a little flexible. It just wavered a little bit, and then everything would go on. And if we're rigidly connected to the idea that I'm going to permanently stay here, and that I'm, this body somehow or other, by following the latest longevity advice, will definitely live to 101, because that's prominent now, right? Yeah, it's prominent. I'll be caught by surprise. So Krishna gives us the Gita as a memo, so we're not caught by surprise. It's like, don't invest everything in the material world. Jesus said it too. Don't build your foundation on sand. This is a sand foundation you have. It's not going to hold. Doesn't mean you become neurotic or antisocial. It just means you build that awareness into your consciousness as you go through life. And that, okay, yeah, I'll leave it that. And there was one or two more. We started with you. Is there anybody else? I just want to make sure. Yes, you did raise your hand. And you're waiting also. Okay. And then we'll go to Kartik.
I just thought this would be a good worksheet to do, the experiment like from the raga, why the attachment is it helping me to remember Krishna or forget Krishna? And then I was thinking in the fear, it's like, where did I learn to mistrust? And then where did I learn to not surrender? And where did I lose? And why am I having a hard time surrendering to fear than surrendering to the divine shelter? And I was thinking also in the terms of the so we had a raga, krodha. I mean, am I just asking those questions or introspecting to serve my senses or to serve the higher senses? So I was just thinking this could be just a good worksheet for the own
Definitely. And I wrote in that book, The 4 Questions, the question, what's the lesson? And as a preamble to that, I said, this is a hard one. Because when you're feeling put upon, it's really hard to ask that question. It's like your mind's going, really? You really think you're going to solve this philosophically? And I saw a meme the other day from Keshav Maharaj, and it said that people die all the time and then everyone's surprised. And then he put at the bottom, what's the lesson? And it really made me think the rest of the day, like, what are we doing here? In an impermanent world, expecting some kind of permanence and being really surprised when things shift. On the other hand, I was talking to this professor the other day, David Cresswell, really nice guy. He runs a department at Carnegie Mellon. Any Carnegie Mellon people here? Haribo. David Cresswell, he's a psychologist, and he studies the effects of mindfulness and meditation on disease and on the mind, and they study it empirically and measure things. And he was talking about equanimity and how important it is. In fact, he's writing a book about equanimity. And we may read Bhagavad Gita all the time, and Krishna says, be equal in all circumstances. And yeah, sure. And we still become, but he really wants us to practice that, to come into that equitable mind. Not equitable, to be equipoised. That'll work, thank you. Okay? Awadimashtaka. Finished. Oh, Kartik, sorry, yes.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Guru
Krishna.
Deva. Welcome home.
Thank you.
In alignment with the absolutely wonderful answer that was inspired by Divya Mataji's question, and then as well as inspired by your thesis, I know I'm friends with plenty of people from before my life in Krishna consciousness who only take a break from their atheism in order to blame God for their suffering. And if the cure for that level of attachment to that suffering is to read Srimad Bhagavatam with devotees, or to understand the weight and knowledge that God is a person, those are really difficult things to convince these friends to do, but how do I help them?
Well, one thing is compassion. Even, let's speak of those who are trending towards atheism, which is irrational. I mean, it's illogical, I'll say, because if you say there's no God, then you must be God yourself. Because how would you know that unless you're omniscient? So it's self-defeating argument. In any case, even as devotees, we feel this pressure. And we have to be very compassionate. So this is what Krishna says in the Gita. Atma pam yena sarvatra samam pashityu Arjuna sukham va yarivadukam so yogi paramomata. Krishna says, amongst the yogis, the best one is the one that has compassion, empathy for the suffering of everybody. He sukham va yarivadukam, because yogi's been around and he knows that yes, the philosophy is there, but we're so intricately connected with the material world that it hurts. And so we should be really compassionate with people and devotees, Because when we go through things, and that's why it's important to have community, and community means that we should be supportive to everybody and all the traumas that we all go through at various times in our lives, or continuously, even if you analyze it carefully. We should be compassionate and empathetic with people first. If we come in blazing with philosophy, it may fall on, I'm going to say deaf ears because that's really cliche, but it may be abrasive even at that point. I've given this example before, but I love it, so I'm going to give it again. My godbrother Mahamuni had flu circa 1979, and he was in the brahmacharya ashram with a high fever, and therefore, that hurts. So he's in his sleeping bag, and he groaned because of the fever, and one of the new devotees there, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, with no fever, brushing his teeth over there at the sink, he turned around and thought he was being helpful by saying, "Prabhu, you're not your body." And Mahamuni, with all the strength he could muster, got up on one elbow and he looked out from his sleeping bag and said, "Prabhu, you're not my body either." And, in our community, all of us go through some trauma. So we should be really compassionate and know, okay, so the philosophy is there and it's true, but it still hurts in that moment. And we should learn to minister to that. We should try to understand first how to minister to that pain that people are feeling by human kindness and compassion, empathy, knowing sukham va yadi va dukkam. Yeah, there's happiness and distress in this world. I've been through them also, and I know how much it hurts. So we should be there for people. And those who are not open are generally more impressed by how we interact with them. Philosophically, there's no opening until they say, "What about this? How come you carry that bag around and isn't effective?" And even then, you should be really careful. Because when people say they're open, then they're just a little bit open. Don't go overboard. Give them less rather than more until they open up more. And so first thing, be compassionate, tend to their psychic wounds, so to speak, and be there for them. And at the right time, even for the devotees, the revelation will be forthcoming. So that's what I recommend. Om Tat Sat. Dear Srila Prabhupada, we're done, right? Okay. Next we have the youth presentation, followed by a grain ceremony. Oh, it's tomorrow. Okay. False advertising. Huh? Yeah, no grains. Sorry. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Shringadev, if you so desire, please give us empathetic hearts, even as we propound the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Please let us give solace to all, knowing that we're in the same boat of happiness and distress. And keep in mind that Krishna is all merciful for all living beings, and especially for those who take shelter of him. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna. And now for the main part of our program, we have a youth presentation. So please stay for the next 12 and a half minutes. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpadrivishcha kripa sindhabhevacha patitanam bhavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha nanta kodi vaishnaviniki ki jai.
Jai.
How'd it go? Did you write my paper for me?
Please. Oh, yes, please believe me. Yes, please believe me.
I can't wait to read it.
Yes, people believe me. Yes, let's go. Let's go.
I think I'm ready.
Oh, that's not.
Transferring.
Digger.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear Maharaj and Guruma, and welcome back. We're very grateful. It feels like the soul of this temple is back, honestly. I was thinking this morning when I just tuned in to your kirtan, sometimes a long gap like this, you just forget what you're missing out on. I was just so grateful that you're back. And just to, after 7 long weeks, I wouldn't probably be able to move for at least a week. But you're so kind and so compassionate, like you were talking about compassion, that you were here and you're here just for us. So thank you so much for all that you're doing, and I'm so grateful that you're back.
Yay. It's on.
So today's youth presentation will be by Madhav Shravan. And he's going to present on the topic, how to respond effectively.
Should I start? Hare Krishna, dear devotees. My name is Madhav Shravan from the Kaishora class, taught by Her Grace Rashay Sri Leela Mataji. And today I will be presenting Gauraga Darshan Prabhu's book, Bhagavad Viveka, Chapter 1, How to Respond Effectively. Life's unpredictable moments. Life is mixed with the unpredictable and the predictable. These moments are to test our maturity and self-control, and some of these moments allow for reflection. Others demand instant action. An example of this would be the story of Dhruva Maharaj. So when Dhruva Maharaj tried to sit on his father's lap, Suruchi, seeing this, angrily scolded him and told that he was not worthy of sitting on his father's lap, and that he should go to the forest and worship Lord Krishna to get the boon to be in her womb, so he can sit on his father's lap. And Dhruva went crying to his mother, Suniti, and Suniti, instead of speaking ill of Suruchi and rebuking her, she instead spoke the truth of Suruchi's words, saying that Suruchi was right, that you should go to the forest and worship Lord Krishna. And that's what Dhruva did. In this story, there are multiple examples of poor and wise responses. Poor responses are impulsive reactions driven by pride, envy, ego, or immaturity that cause harm and regret. Suruchi is one example of this. Her response was driven by her pride of being the favored wife of her husband, and she didn't want Dhruva, who was the son of the unfavored wife, to sit on his father's lap. And these lead to these irreversible effects that cannot be fully undone, and it can have a lasting impact on a person's personality, and it can cause stuff like depression. Suniti's was an example of a wise response, which are reflective action driven by maturity, restraint, and devotion that enable measured responses that can transform others in crises. These can lead to positive changes in one's character, which empower those around you and transform them for the better, which Suniti did, in turning from Dhruva from a sad boy to more an ambitious one, and that led him to be a great devotee. Responding on the spur of the moment. Responding on the spur of the moment is an important aspect of responding effectively, because responding on the spur of the moment is something that happens a lot in your life. Like if you're like in a conversation, someone asks you a question that you don't really know, you can't just spend like 5 minutes to think about it. You have to immediately answer. And they're based on how you respond is based on your maturity level and your where you are in your moral and spiritual development. Job interviews are one such example of where you need to respond effectively and good, otherwise you're going to get rejected. Because you have to respond immediately, and there's no second chance after the job interview to correct or redo your responses. Either you get in the job or you're rejected. Examples of these: a bad example of responding on the spur of the moment is when Parikshit Maharaj angrily wrapped a dead snake around Samik Rishi's neck when he did not respond after Parikshit Maharaj asks for some water after like an intense hunt, and that he got paid the price for it. A good example would be when Vasudeva instantly negotiated with Kamsa, saving Devaki's life and showing timely wisdom after the voice from the sky told that the 8th son of Devaki would kill him. And yeah, he saved his wife's life and ultimately Krishna's, I guess. And another good example is when Uttara sought Krishna's shelter to say when Ashwatthama shot a deadly Brahmastra weapon aiming to kill baby Parikshit inside her womb. And she used her devotion as a refuge for her baby son, and that saved Parikshit's life. Here's a shloka that would relate to this. Bandhur atmahatmanastasya yenatmevatmanachitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmeva shatruvat. For who has conquered the mind is the best of friends, and for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. So like if you conquered your mind, the mind is your best friend, and your best friend would always want to wish you well, and your mind being your best friend would give you a good response that would not hurt people. But if you have failed to conquer your mind will remain the greatest enemy, and your greatest enemy will want to make your life miserable. And if your greatest enemy is your mind, then like it'll give you a bad response and hurt whoever you're talking to. One's greatness is estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. And like in the first image, you can see these two guys fighting, which is like a provoking situation, and that can be like prevented by like conquering your mind, as you can see in the second image. And in the third image, it shows the mind is your friend. So if you conquer your mind, the mind will be your friend, and you can achieve this by practicing the ABCDs of devotional practice, which A, association of devotees, B, books, reading Prabhupada's books, not some any random book that you can find in the library. C, the most important part, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And D, diet, eating prasadam. Thank you for listening. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you.
Manav, you're a hoot.
Huh? What?
H-O-O-T, it's good. Very conversational, because you've assimilated this, I could tell. So it was easy to listen to. Really appreciated the points.
Thank you.
But, I mean, the points were there, but you delivered them nicely. There was humor that sort of naturally came, it was spontaneous, no canned humor. And I liked it a lot.
Thank you.
Any room for improvement?
Well, I probably could have made it longer.
No, it was just right, because you packed everything into it. The only thing I thought of is, because it's a stellar presentation, is eliminate the word like.
What? Because I keep repeating it and it gets like redundant.
It's a filler word, it's not necessary. So because your presentation's so good, the only thing I could think of to make it better was just watch out for that filler word. Like when you're talking and like you're talking about Dhruvan, like you don't use it that frequently, but all you need to do is throw in a few of those and it degrades the audience's opinion of you. But if you take them out and you be really conscious, then there's perfect, more perfect, and most perfect, so you can move up one level from that. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions, or reflections? Yes, Prabhu. Oh.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. It was a very nice presentation. So, two examples that you quoted regarding the protection, right? In one case, we see when Devaki was under problem and she was about to be killed, Vasudeva used his intelligence. And in case of Uttara, she used her devotion for saving instantly. So in those situations, how do you decide which one to use? Devotion versus wisdom, right? How do we decide? Can you speak some factors on that?
Well, I mean, Kamsa is like a demon, so I don't think you can really use devotion against him because he probably wouldn't understand. So intelligence would be the most, would be the better way there.
Devotion in the sense, devotion to, he would have prayed to the Lord for protection at that point of time, right?
I mean, I guess. But like, I think Vasudeva saw, I think he was panicking because no one's perfect. So he probably just used intelligence to like, I mean, it worked. But he used his intelligence to save Devaki. But Uttara, like, you can't really use your intelligence to like dodge like a weapon that's chasing you. So like, I guess you have to use devotion.
Yes, Prabhu, you want to answer, Maharaj?
There is I don't remember all the elements in the sequence, but Prabhupada mentions it in one of his purports about escalation to different levels during provoking situations. They're Latin terms, but the last one is bringing out the stick or fighting, but there are other ones where you negotiate and so forth, sort of an escalation. That could fit in that answer somewhere.
Hare Krishna, Madhav. I echo what everybody said. It's a brilliant presentation. I just took a picture of the slide where you had poor versus wise responses, and I really liked the thing you said about, what are the reactions when you take a poor decisions. I was just wondering, how did you get that idea to put that slide?
The poor versus wise responses? Well, like, because you have to know how to respond effectively. So you have to know the difference between a poor response and a wise response. Because if you don't know the difference, you might actually use a poor response instead of a wise one, and like you might like hurt someone, like verbally. So I thought it was necessary to put that.
That was brilliant. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Any other questions, comments, or reflections? Okay, thank you so much. This is great, Madhav. And actually, this is Madhav's last year in Kaishora and probably his last presentation, at least for this series. So we're very grateful to you, Madhav, for growing into such a fantastic devotee. And we're looking forward to hearing more from you. And I'm sure there is a lot that we know about his family, Sundarila Mataji, Shikumar Prabhu, and Uddhav. They are always, Shikumar Prabhu is our intellectual devotee. He's a PhD, so he's very humble. I always see him washing pots in the kitchen. So that shows that they have the best. You have the best of both worlds, humility with devotion and wisdom. So thank you for following in their footsteps, and I pray that you are always successful in your devotional life.
Thank you. Thank you.
With that, I'd like to hand over. Do we just do prasadam prayers or announcements? Announcements. Do we have the Sankirtan team? Bhakti community? Okay.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you. Just reminding you again that Bhakti community exists, and we survived without Gurudev just because of his potency. The programs have been running very regularly. So please, one request is that directly send the devotees, go to the website and sign them up. Don't send me a lot of messages because I might just miss out on calling them. You are empowered to just go to www.bhakticommunity.com and you can just sign the people up. And once they're signed up, they'll get all notifications. We are doing in-person program every week, every Friday, very, very consistently. So they are very predictable, very reliable. For that, you can definitely text me and I can give you a quick flyer. We regularly post on our Instagram page on the programs that are happening. So that's another resource for you to call people for in person. One thing I want to remind you are people are really looking for in person these days. There are crazy amount of things that they can go to and there are options that they are going to and getting even more crazier. I've talked to many people and really there are crazy amount of things that they are going to. It's ridiculous what's going on. So we humbly request you, please welcome them. There was one girl who came actually, on Sunday morning we have a women's circle that we do. That's an online program. And I was getting ready for that program. At 7:30 a.m. I get a call from Vicky that there's a newcomer waiting outside your door to enter into this program. And this was an online program. I was not prepared for somebody to come in person. 7:30 a.m. in the morning. Anyhow, I greeted her nicely and I left her with a very nice impression. I thought I did not do a good job, but then later on I heard from Vicky that she was very happy the way I treated her. So I felt good. But then I thought that this was the end of it. She's never going to come back. She was a non-traditional person. I thought this is done. I did a bad job. She's never going to come back. But actually she came back the following Friday because she was recommended by a newcomer who had came to our program and that this program is really good. Please join. So people are really looking for, don't give up on them. Just give them the information and then leave it to Krishna and them to decide what happens. So please, please, please seriously consider this. Welcome everybody to bhakticommunity.com. Yes.
And regarding the importance of this groundbreaking program, there are other programs that we're finding around the movement in our travels where people facilitate, as you're saying, non-traditionals and new people. However, they're not cohesively situated with the book distribution. There are many programs where they meet people and then they're on their own to try to find it. They don't have what you've created, which is an immediate connection from the time you meet somebody on the street or anywhere else and their ability to enter right in, facility to do that. So although there are other programs, this is unique. And you're setting a trend for the rest of the movement because we're missing a lot of people through that gap. They either get a book, they walk away, and then 5 years later, they accidentally, serendipitously maybe find a place to join. But this idea that they immediately come in is something that you've worked hard at and it's working. So we should take advantage of that and try to be effective at bringing people in as much as possible at the very beginning before they fall through the gap. Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you.
Excellent. Bhalo. Sadhu.
Just one more, I want to just say that our top volunteer has been for many, many months, Vicky. So Vicky, thank you really for everything you do.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming and thank you His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu and Her Grace Nirakula Mataji for coming back to ISV. We have been missing you for a long time now. We had the season of all the festivals is over. We finished pumpkin festivals, we finished Diwali melas, and this year it was such that all of them were on the same day. We had like 7 festivals on one day, and we tried to cover as much as possible. But after that, now it seems like a little slower. But last Saturday, we went to a festival at Castro Valley. And this Castro Valley festival was like just a small festival where people were just celebrating the Festival of Lights. or something like that. They had everything was lighted. Police people came and they were showing something for the city. Then school students came. Then others, they were just showing some kind of entertainment or something for the city of Castro Valley. And when we went there, that was little untouched, we felt. And we were just standing with all other vendors who sell hot dogs and everything. We were just standing right next to them. And when we just had a sign up, meditation books, people started coming to us. A lot of them had long ponytails, like long hair, like looked like yogis and things like that. And they were all very happy to get a book, especially a book on yoga meditation. And there was one Indian gentleman who was just walking by, and we stopped and we showed him a Bhagavad Gita. And he said, "Are you giving this away?" And then, "Yeah, kind of. We're just showing it to everybody." And he said, "I recently had a very nice experience. Somebody was put into jail for some reason. And inside the jail, he asked for a Bhagavad Gita. And then somebody sent him a Bhagavad Gita to the jail, and then he was reading, and then he was released after that from the jail. And when he was released from the jail, he came out and he gave a statement to the press or something saying that how Bhagavad Gita actually was so important for him to go through his traumatic experience. And he said, "You should give this to every single person in the Bay Area." And we said, "Okay, if you wanted to, not only just take a Bhagavad Gita, would you like to sponsor a case of Bhagavad Gita?" And he just said, "How much?" And immediately he gave $108 donation very, very easily. And then his credit card was the spot where we were in. There was no cell phone reception. So we swiped his card, but somehow it didn't go through. So then Haldar Rupa Prabhu ran behind him almost like a mile and asked him, can we swipe again? He was so sold out for Bhagavad Gita, he didn't even ask a question, "Oh, was it already charged?" He just said, "Okay, take it again." So this was a very nice experience, because if you make Bhagavad Gita famous somehow, it is touching people's heart, and you never know who do you find that they want to promote and send Bhagavad Gitas to everybody. So we have been going to different festivals, and we're also planning a traveling Sankirtan party during Thanksgiving, and we're also planning for a huge traveling Sankirtan party during the December. We wanted to cover the entire Grand Canyon. If you're interested, we need to plan ahead of time. Please let us know. And we are also going to different spots here in Bay Area today. There's a long list, so we can just post it on the Weekend Warriors, and please do come. And wanted to also mention that we revived our calling party again. And our queen of the calling party, I don't know if Shriji Priya Mataji is here, the first call she makes, she gets sponsorships for 3 cases of Bhagavad Gita from a realtor. So it's really fun. That is Friday evenings, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. only. If you're just bored of work on Friday evenings, please come join us on Friday evening. And then Saturday we go out for book distribution. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
The worldwide goal this year is 4.7 million Bhagavad Gitas. We have positioned it in such a way that we could probably break through that, because we want to establish 5 million worldwide as a baseline for the future. After Bhadra Purnima, distribution of Bhagavad Gita is easy and multiple cases. Make sure to ask everybody and present it, because it's the panacea for the world's problems. And most people know what Bhagavad Gita is. And we have a goal here at ISV that is, as usual, astronomical. So we're inching towards our goal, and it's very helpful if everyone takes some kind of a quota. When I was in London recently, we had a meeting, and during that meeting, people started spontaneously volunteering to do a certain number of Bhagavad Gitas. Actually, I went first, and I said I'll do 108 before we leave, which was 2 days. And then they granted me that I could pay for 108 Bhagavad Gitas and try to distribute them before I left. And as soon as I volunteered for that quota, everyone was thinking, like, how are we going to do it? But somehow or other it happened. And it didn't just happen. It happened by Krishna's arrangement, but it was an unusual groundswell towards taking those 108 Bhagavad Gitas. And people gave what turned out to be thousands of dollars just for those thousands of pounds for the 108. So my point is this, fortune favors the bold, and it makes life exciting to take some kind of quota, move the books into your car and your house, and everybody can do something, because we depend on a lot of devotees each doing a little bit, and we don't want to have anybody miss the same opportunity or that kind of feeling that you're involved in that spiritual current. So take a quota, something more than 0 and not less than 1. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, do you think it's a good idea we have a quota here too for everyone?
108 I'll take to start with.
And everybody's welcome. If you want to take a quota of distributing certain number of Gitas, you can actually, you don't have to raise your hand. If you want, you can raise it. Otherwise, you can see us offline. And then we will take your pledges of distributing certain number of Gitas by the end of December. Or actually, this is...
By the end of the day.
Yes, end of the day. Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, can I have my Gitas now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. Shari advijja jao jodandriya taheka jibe pele vishaya sagore talmadye vivayati loba moy sudhumati take jeta katita samsare Krishna bada doyamoy gori bare jiva jai Shaprashadanda dilobai Shayanamrita pao Radha Krishna guna gao Preme dako Shri Chaitanya nitai Preme dako Shri Chaitanya nitai Ma prasade govinde nama brahmari vaishnave Sappa punya vatam rajan vishwaso narvajayate Prasade sarva dukkanam handirasyo pajayate Prasana chetaso yashu Buddhipaya vatistate tvayopa bhukta sraganda Vasalankara charchitaha Tishta Bojino Dasastavamayam Jayame Shuksham Prayushitam Bapi Nitam Badura Deshata Prapti Matrena Bhoktavyam Natrakala Vicharana Desha Niyamastatra Nakala Niyamastata Praptam Annam Dutam Shishtar Bhoktaram Har Abrave Bhagavad Shri Mahaprasada Ki. And a warm welcome to Shrikar and Ram visiting us. Thank you very much for coming. Ki Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaura Haribo Haribol Haribo Nitai Gaur Haribo. So today's fasting until death. So thanks for coming, and maybe take a little water on your way out.